Hello and welcome to Retro Circuits. Today we are going to restore an old MIDI controller keyboard. It's an Evolution MK-449C. Maybe it is not really that retro. I think it was released in the early 2000s. Anyway, I got it in a flea market for £15, about $20. It misses a couple of knobs and there are several scratches. My main concern is to get it clean because, as you can see, it is quite filthy. So let's take it apart and see what's inside. Before we start, I have no idea about music, neither MIDI controllers nor music instruments, but I want to learn, and I think this keyboard will be a good start. First, let's remove the screws. There are 5 screws here that are very important. These are for metal. As you can see in the image, the one on the left has a shorter pitch. These keep the keyboard tight to the plastic frame. Now we can remove the top, but be careful because there are some cables that we need to unplug first. First, a ground cable here, then another ground cable here, and finally the cables that go to the main board here. Now we can remove the keys. It is important that we pay attention on how these keys are assembled because it is not that obvious initially. And now we are ready to take the keys apart. These below are the contacts and for the different keys when we press them. And we will take all that apart as well to clean it up. This is the board that contains all the contacts, and this must be a controller of some sort. These are all the keys that need to be cleaned. As you can see, the black ones are all the same, and the white ones are the same as well, but they go in sets of 2, 4 in front and 3 behind, except for this last one here that goes alone in the right side. There is this rubber here that is all full of grease. I don't know why, because I don't really see any mechanical stress that would require this grease here. So I wonder if this was intended in this way or the previous owner has something to do with it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have this same keyboard, if this part is also full of grease for you too. Let's proceed to remove all the screws of the PCB behind the keyboard buttons. There are a lot of screws. I recommend to be careful and classify them as you take them out so it's easier to put them back again in the right place. After unscrewing all the screws, we are ready to remove the PCB and also the rubber buttons that are the ones who are pressed when we press every key of the keyboard. Let's remove what I will call the main board. And this is the one that has all the external ports. These are the 2 potentiometers that control the pitch bend and the modulation. The black cable behind is attached with some glue. Make sure you have a glue gun to replace it because we need to remove it in order to take the potentiometers apart. After removing the potentiometers, we need to remove the little board that keeps the buttons panel together. These are just rubber buttons and they are all the same. This is a small LCD screen. Be very careful with this. It is very delicate. Also pay attention to the contacts here because you have to make sure that this rubber connector stays in touch with the glass of the LCD screen. Even if we can't see the contacts in the glass, they are there. They are made of a very thin layer of conductive material. These knobs here are quite hard to remove. Don't use a slotted screwdriver. It can damage the plastic. Instead, use a plastic or nylon sploger. There are links below the video with all the tools I use. Now it is time to wash all of this. Use simple soap or dishwashing soap and an old toothbrush. Leave it to dry at least for a day to make sure there is no more water in any corner. You can also use isopropyl alcohol to remove the grease or any other dirt. Just be careful using the isopropyl if you inhale it, but anyway, just read the instructions on the bottle and be safe. This is some sort of paper tape or painter tape. I will remove it and replace it. You can also use isopropyl alcohol to clean the PCB. Just gently use an old toothbrush. Now it's all clean and ready to put everything back in place. When you put the rubber buttons again, pay attention at the shape of these buttons. You can see that one of them is a bit chubbier than the other thin one. Make sure to put that one in the lower row. To put the keys back together, let's remember the order. First, the white set with 4 keys, and then there is the one with 3, and finally the black keys. Then you put them on the top, just pressure a little bit and then push towards the upper side, and they should fix perfectly there. Before screwing the keyboard back in place, check the shape of the holes for the screws. The square one is for the plastic screw and the others for the metal ones. You can see the difference in the screws by the length of the pitch. Everything is back in place, all clean, and let's give it a final test. I connected it to GarageBand on the iPad, but basically this MIDI key controller, you can connect it to everything you want. As I said before, I have no idea about music, so forgive my cacophonic performance. That was a masterpiece. Let's try the pitch bend. I think that this wraps it up for now. I had a lot of fun cleaning and disassembling this keyboard. It's not particularly hard to do. I think it's a good budget option to start learning the basics about music. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions or a similar experience with another Evolution keyboards and MIDI controllers. As always, thanks for watching.